Where do you go when you wanna go higher? See places and things, and it never expires. A book can take you anywhere. Turn the pages and you'll be there. Come on, join us, you'll see. We're reading with Carrie Lee.
Hi, friends, and welcome to another episode of Read with Carolee. I am so excited that you are here with us today on a very special weekend. Do you know what weekend it is? That's right, it's Mother's Day weekend, and we have an amazing show for you. We have a very special author, so you know what? Let's check the bookshelf and see what author we have today. Well, we have The Flower Girl by author Patrice Thomas. And I am so excited for author Patrice to get into this book all about the Flower Girl. It has some very good life lessons in this book, so I'm going to have author Patrice take it away, but make sure you stay tuned for a special treat at the end of the episode.
To all children, may your imagination take you from here to there and everywhere in between. May vibrant colors fill the pages of your life as you find and accomplish your dreams. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, a little girl named Grace lived with her parents in a house on top of a hill. Lots of purple and pink flowers surrounded the house. One sunny day, Grace was playing outside as her mother cleaned the front yard. "Sweetheart, listen to me very carefully. Please stay where I can see you and don't go into the woods. Do you understand?" Grace's mother told her. "Yes, Mommy, I understand," Grace replied. While picking flowers and running about, Grace spotted a big, beautiful white flower. "That's not so far away," Grace thought as she turned to look back at her mother. "I will still be able to see Mommy from there." So she ran over and picked the white flower. Just as she was about to go back to the garden, she saw an even bigger red flower off in the distance. Looking back at her mother again, Grace said to herself, "That's not so far away. I can still see Mommy." So she skipped a little farther away and picked the red flower. As Grace was getting ready to go back to her mother to show her the lovely basket of white and red flowers, she saw a rainbow-colored flower. "I have never seen a rainbow flower," Grace said to herself. "My Mommy would love that one, and it's not too far away. I'll be really fast." So she quickly ran to pick the rainbow-colored flower. But when she turned around, she could not see her mother at all. "Oh no," Grace cried. "Mommy, Mommy, where are you?" Grace turned around and around in a circle. She looked to the left and then she looked to the right, but she could not see her mother anywhere. "Oh, what will I do?" Grace said as she continued to cry. While she sat under a tree, a bluebird flew down from a branch above her. "Why are you crying, little girl?" asked Mr. Bluebird. "I'm lost. I can't find my Mommy anywhere," Grace cried. "What does your house look like?" Mr. Bluebird asked. "It's a large white house on top of a hill and has purple and pink flowers all around it," Grace told him. "Okay, little girl, I will fly and try to find your home, but you must stay here until I get back to help you get home." "Do you understand?" Mr. Bluebird asked. "Oh, thank you. Yes, I understand. I will wait for you here by the tree," Grace said. Mr. Bluebird flew up, up, up into the sky. He searched far and wide for the little girl's home. When he came back, Grace was nowhere to be found. Little girl, I have found your home. Where are you?" He called for her, but she was not there. "Oh no, she did not listen to me." Now she is even more lost. Shaking his head, Mr. Bluebird hopped into his nest for the night. Because Mr. Bluebird took so long to come back, Grace thought she could find her way home by herself. So she walked and walked, but she wandered even farther away from home. Oh no, I'm so scared. I will never see my mommy again, Grace cried. But then she saw a red fox. Oh, Mr. Red Fox, can you please help me? I'm lost and can't find my way home, she told him. Hush now, don't cry. I will help you. What does your home smell like? Mr. Red Fox asked. It smells like chocolate chip cookies. My mommy always makes me chocolate chip cookies. I miss my mommy and daddy so much, Grace said. All right, little girl, I will use my nose to find your way home, but you must stay here by my burrow and wait for me. Do you understand? Asked Mr. Red Fox. Oh, thank you. Yes, I understand. I will wait for you here, Grace shouted while jumping joyfully. Mr. Red Fox ran off into the woods, sniffing the ground as he went. Finally, he found the little girl's house. He followed the scent of chocolate chip cookies to the window and saw Grace's mother and father sitting at the table. Her mother was crying and her father looked very sad. I must hurry back to the little girl, Mr. Red Fox said to himself. Her parents are so worried about her. He ran as fast as he could back to the burrow, but Grace was nowhere to be found. Oh no, she did not listen to me, Mr. Red Fox said as he shook his head and looked out into the darkening forest. Now she is even more lost. Feeling sad, Mr. Red Fox climbed into his burrow for the night. Farther away, Grace walked and walked until she was tired. The flowers she picked had lost all their petals. Her shirt was dirty, her jeans had a hole, and her feet hurt. So she sat down under a large tree and began to cry. Oh, someone help me. Please help me get home, she cried loudly. Who is crying so loudly by my tree? Said a voice high above her. It is me down here, Grace replied. Oh, Mother Owl, I am so lost. And how did you get lost? Mother Owl asked. Grace stopped crying and began to think. My mother was planting new flowers in our garden. She told me that I could play but not go into the woods. I went to pick a pretty flower, and then another, and then another. When I looked up, I could not see my home or my mother anywhere. Then Mr. Bluebird found me, and he tried to help me, but I did not listen to him. Mr. Red Fox tried to help me too, but I did not listen to him either. I did not listen when they all told me to stay put. Will you help me, Mother Owl? I promise to listen this time. I just want to go home, Grace begged, crying harder. Who? Hush now, child. I will help you get home safely, but you must stay here until I return for you. It is important that you listen. It is very dangerous to be so far into the woods all alone. Do you understand, little girl? Mother Owl asked. Yes. I promise to stay right here by your tree until you come back for me. I promise, Mother Owl, I promise, Grace said as she sat down under the tree. Mother Owl flew away to find Mr. Bluebird and Mr. Red Fox. She flew and flew, looking all over for them. Finally, she saw Mr. Bluebird resting in his nest. Whoo! Wake up, Mr. Bluebird. I have found the little girl and we must get her home. Together, they flew off to find Mr. Red Fox. They landed on the tree next to his burrow, where Mr. Red Fox lived with his family. Whoo! Wake up, Mr. Red Fox. I have found the little girl and we must get her home. Why should I help her? She did not listen to me when I tried to help her. I want to go back to sleep, Mother Owl, Mr. Red Fox told her. What if it was your baby fox? Wouldn't you want someone to help him get home to you? Mother Owl softly responded. Mr. Red Fox looked down at his burrow and thought about his babies sleeping soundly in their beds. You are right, Mother Owl. I will help you get the little girl home safely. Together, Mother Owl, Mr. Bluebird, and Mr. Red Fox returned to find Grace asleep underneath the tree. Whoo, whoo, wake up, little girl. It is time to go home now. Mr. Bluebird and Mr. Red Fox are here to help you. Mother Owl softly said as she lightly brushed her wing across Grace's tear-stained cheek. Thank you, Mother Owl. Thank you, Mr. Bluebird. Thank you, Mr. Red Fox. I am sorry I did not listen to you when you tried to help me. I'm sorry I did not listen to my mommy. I will listen better now. Together, the four of them started walking through the forest. Soon, Grace saw the purple and pink flowers that surrounded her home. She began to smell the chocolate chip cookies her mother had made. I'm home! I'm home! Grace shouted as she ran up the hill. Grace's parents threw open the door, and when they saw their daughter, they ran down the hill towards her. Sweetheart, her mother cried out. Grace, her father said. Mommy, Daddy, I was so scared. I'm sorry I did not listen to you. I'm sorry I did not stay in the garden where you could see me. I'm so sorry, Grace cried as she hugged her parents tightly. Grace's parents thanked Mr. Bluebird, Mr. Red Fox, and Mother Owl for helping their precious daughter make it home. Grace's mother and father took her into the house to get all cleaned up. Then her parents gave her a giant plate of chocolate chip cookies and a glass of milk. They were disappointed she had not been obedient, but so very glad to have her home safe. When it was time for bed, her father kissed her goodnight and tucked her in. Her mother kissed her and asked what she learned that day. I learned it is important to listen to you and Daddy. I must obey instructions that keep me safe and listen to those who are trying to help me. And I learned it is very important to always stay where you can see me, Grace said before falling fast asleep.
Okay, that was such a wonderful book and such a wonderful story and perfect for Mother's Day weekend. It may be a little gloomy here right now, but I am here with Miss Esther, and she is a florist. And not only is she a florist, but she has these amazing flowers in her own backyard. Esther, could you tell us a little about the flowers and the significance of even giving our mothers flowers on Mother's Day?
Of course. Well, I started growing flowers because as a little girl, I remember the joy that they brought into our home. My father was a farmer, and growing flowers, it kind of runs in my blood. But these flowers here are actually some of the most beautiful flowers you'll find in the market. They're organically grown, and moms love them. These are so phenomenal. They have a great vase life, and honestly, kids can just grab a little bunch of flowers and gift them to mom for Mother's Day. It's the perfect season. They just started to bloom, and they're gonna bloom steadily now for probably another 6 weeks. But we have a second succession of flowers coming up also, so we'll have plenty of beautiful flowers. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here, and these flowers are so beautiful. I will, have to take you around to see some of the buds that are coming up, but these flowers are gorgeous. Now, could you tell us the name of these flowers?
Great point. So this is called a ranunculus, and they honestly come in the most gorgeous colors. If you go up there, you have the hot pinks, we have the pink, oranges, and all of these ones here were started from a corm. So we pre-sprouted the corm in the fall. Okay. Then the corm developed what's called rootlers, and then we planted that little corm here, and here we are. Of course, through the winter, we had to baby them because if it drops below certain temperatures, the corm will freeze, and then it'll be bad because we won't have flowers. So we cover them with a frost cloth, and then here they are, and it's crazy to even see them. You're like, are they even real? They feel so nice.
They do feel so nice, and they are beautiful. Now, I've seen these flowers all around before,
but I never actually knew their names. So we learned something together today. The ranunculus, and they are beautiful. And we'll take you around to see some of the colors that we have of the ranunculuses as well. So thank you so much, Esther.
It's my pleasure.
And, you know, go out and get your mom some flowers for Mother's Day. But until then, let's check back in with our author, Patrice Thomas.
Oh, that was a beautiful story and a great lesson for all our friends to listen and follow instructions.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So what was your inspiration behind writing this story?
Well, this story I wrote a few years ago. It's from my own daughter, Carly Grace. So the character is named after her as well. It was a bedtime story. She was supposed to be in bed one night and she just kept, egging to stay up later and later. So she was like, just mommy, tell me a story. Tell me a story. So I made up a story on obedience because she was not being obedient.
Oh, well, that is definitely a great lesson that all children need to hear. If you keep on going, you never know what trouble you might find yourself in. So you really definitely must listen.
Yes.
So is this your first book, and is it your only book?
It's my first children's book.
Okay.
I have a young adult Christian fantasy trilogy that I wrote first, so that's out as well.
Okay. Well, that's definitely something that our older audience definitely should look into.
Yes.
So with all of these books with, teaching children's lessons and your young adult books, were there any books that you had in mind growing up that inspired you?
I couldn't name just one book. I was a devourer of books. If I was at family functions, I would be the one off into a corner with a book in my hand. So, I read C.S. Lewis, I read Francine Rivers. I was, I was heavily into the Christian fiction genre. I used to sit with my grandmother and she would get boxes of books and we would just go through the books together. So I just read everything. I was like a sponge and just soaked it all up.
Wow. So would we be able to look forward to another children's book that you might actually have in mind?
Yes,
or is this
I'm
the only
working
one right
on.
now?
No, I am working on one for little boys as well.
Okay.
And I'm also working on a children's devotional. So
Okay,
those both will be out next year.
amazing. That's amazing. Well, will the little boys' books be on obedience too? Because I have 2 little boys that need to learn about obedience.
It's possible. It's possible.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, it was just so great to hear this story about grace and about obedience. And we know that our friends will definitely love this story and will continue to read it. And you can always find out more about Miss Nicole Patrice Thomas in the description below. So, Ms. Nicole, thank you for joining us for another Read with Carolee.
Thank you so much for having me. It was fabulous. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. And friends, I know it's time to say goodbye for today, but we always want to make sure that here's my book, that you grab a book and read. So we will see you next time for another great Read with Carolee. Have a great day.
Aren't these flowers beautiful? Do you remember the name of these flowers? Yes, that's right, the ranunculus. And as you can see, they come in various colors. Here is this pretty pink. And look at all the ranunculus flowers that Miss Esther is growing in her backyard. And here we have some peonies that are about to be in full bloom. They are so beautiful. I can't wait to see them all in full bloom.
Thank you so much for visiting my little haven here. I love growing flowers. If you love flowers and would love to send some to your mom or anyone you love, find us at www.Castle Drive Flowers. We operate here in Gainesville, Haymarket, and Bristol, and parts of Loudoun, as well as Fairfax County. Thank you so much. My name is Esther Malinowski with Castle Drive Flowers. It was a pleasure to have you over.
We're reading with care,